All right, good morning, traders. Sorry, I got started there without you, without hitting the live button here. So we all should be good now. Anyway, welcome to the live trading webinar here at Bookmap. So we all should be good now. And this is the education, free education you get with Bookmap. We have an educational course, it's online, and then we have the follow-up with these live webinars. Okay, the Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, I lead the live analysis. And the concept here is to go through that course content in the live market so you can apply it directly in the live market. It is forward-looking analysis, not hindsight. Therefore, you can see it in or attend the recorded webinars from the education and then come to these live events and apply it directly. We also get questions all the time about offering live trading. So we reached out to a few traders. We've had them now for a few years. Live trading by a J trader, a stocks trader, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. And then Scott Pulcini, a futures trader, every Thursday at 10 a.m. So it's a very complete package you're getting with your education. Let's go through the disclosures here very quickly, the general and risk disclosure, and then we're going to jump into the live markets and go through the order flow. All right, general disclosure. All Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure. Trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so let's jump in here. Let's take a look at the S&P E-mini. I kind of want to comment a little bit on yesterday's webinar, which was got a nice compliment in here from John about the webinar yesterday about covering structure. Okay, structure is such an important part to understand, and I wanted to talk more about that structure today. I got a question from a Bookmap user just yesterday, and they were asking about distribution and accumulation. So basically they're talking about Wyckoff and markup, markdown, all that good stuff in there. And let's apply that to the order flow. Okay, it's all based on structure as well. So we're going to look at the order flow within that structure to understand the accumulation and the distribution. And I think you guys will like this quite a bit. Starting to look at these areas of consolidation and breakout, just like we've been doing here. We're just going to apply a little bit of different terminology to it and look a little deeper into it here. Okay, Ramiz, you were looking at Scott's trades for the first time last week and was impressed. Yeah, it's great to have both Scott and Jay Trader. And don't forget, after this webinar, there is the Tom B Traders Lab on YouTube and also here in Discord. Okay, so Tom goes for the afternoon session and a lot of good stuff in there. It's all volume profile based. All right, so here comes our our markdown here. Looking for it to trade down to 40.50. Maybe we can even break and hit higher liquidity down here. Now, what are we looking at Bookmap here? And why are we looking at these areas in the heat map here and thinking about why price might come down into these areas? Well, when we talk about price discovery, it goes back to the old, and let me get the pen out. I mean, your economics 101, if you remember. Boy, I barely remember it, but just such simple stuff. And understanding like supply and demand. How many times have we looked at that very, very simple chart in economics 101, and you've got your supply curve or your demand curve and your supply curve, right? And then this is where they meet. So that's what we're talking about here. And we're using the same terminology of supply and demand. This down here, this is liquidity. These are buyers. This is demand. All right. Supply is up in these areas up in here. Okay. This is These are limit sell orders up here. These are limit buy orders down here. So now the aggressors, the buyers and sellers in here that move the market with market buy and sell orders, they look and seek for this liquidity. This is where the buyers are. Sellers know it. They'll come down and trade and test into it. Price discovery into demand down here. Now, if there are more sellers down here, then we're looking for continuation. More sellers means this was not enough demand. And we'd be looking for sellers to trade into. Maybe it bounces a little bit, but then trade down to the next area of high demand. Really simple stuff here, but very profound to understand, really applying an auction theory here and basic economics and common sense to the market, and starting to understand the context of buyers and sellers in this market. And that's what we're looking at here. Okay, so here's our test into 40.50, and let's take a look here. Is there more sellers in here? Let's zoom in a little bit closer. Okay, and let's look at the condition of the market down here. The context here. We'll zoom in a little closer. Well, here's what happened. There was high demand here, 167 contracts or so that wanted to buy, and they purchased. They got filled here. Here's another one, 40.50. We have another 177 or something like that. Look at the big red dot. These are market sell orders trading right into it. They got filled. All right. Now, are there still more sellers in here? Let's see. Looks like it. Looks like there's more selling in here. I see more red dots. There they are. So they took it a little bit lower, just a tick or two. I want to see them take it lower. Maybe they can reach down into this 48 and a quarter here. Now, we have some other very interesting order flow going on in here. We have some absorption. Yeah, it's absorption. But look at this huge iceberg, guys, playing out in real time. There's 1,200 contracts, and it's still in here. Okay, now this is a hidden order. This is hidden demand. And this is another thing of why it is very helpful to have this kind of transparency with the MBO data from Rhythmic. We have over 1,200 iceberg orders that are already transacted, and they are sitting here on the bid at 40.50 here, absorbing at least what we know right now as much as they can. You can see the whole evolution of that iceberg in here. Now you can see more traders coming in at 40.50, but as price is moving away. All right, so what do we know from that at that point? Well, we know that there was more demand than there was limit sell or market sell orders to take that market through that area here and try to find more demand at lower levels. All right, and they're still here. So now there's even more liquidity. Now this is kind of interesting. No, this liquidity here below is 2 ticks below it now. Someone came in and added even more here. Okay, so 160 contracts are on at this 49.5 level here. So that's more demand. But the demand here was a little bit lower here. So we're kind of reading the context here of the auction here. So if it's a little bit lower, well, then that's showing that they're not so interested. They're interested. That's good. But they're below the 40.50 level here. So they think they can get maybe a better price. That price will come down a little bit lower. So we're constantly gauging this process in here and understanding the context of supply and demand within the price action. Yeah, absorbing, front running. Yeah, it's actually they're right at the figure, so it's definitely a larger player, and they just said like, buy as much as you can at 40.50. So and that's a huge position already, and it's only four different, as you can see here. The four here in the parentheses means that it was four transactions in there, I believe. Hold on a minute. Or was the last one was four? Yeah, the last one was four. No, there were multiple. There were many transactions in there. Okay, so look at the context now, and we can start to understand a bit more, and it makes sense that now we're starting to find buyers. Okay, now, so if we're finding buyers, so where's the supply? Well, it was up here. Now they pulled that away from the market. Well, then let's look for more buyers and try to reach back up here to 40.60. And there's a lot of other things going on in this. I mean, this is kind of, it's not such a simple example here, but there's a lot of things going on. We have VWAP up here. We also have the point of control up here, which means the most traded level, which means value. It means fair value. It seems that most traders agree over today, at least, that this seems to be the value, the fair price level, because most traders agreed on that. And that's the concept. You may or may not agree with the concept, but that's the concept. And it's the most traded area. So that's where a lot of action previously took place, and it can take place again. All right, so we had kind of a host of events here that kind of turned this market around here. And when we were reading it here, basically in real time, starting to understand, well, they're not as bullish here. I didn't cover this one here. I should have. I was covering that one point. But they came up and actually bid up underneath, and this is bullish. Now, however, did they get filled? Yeah, they got filled. 111 contracts got filled. So that is kind of bullish there. They bid up above here by quite a bit. You know, this is a full 2 points higher, and they got filled in here. All right, so what do we have here in context? We have an iceberg. We know that the buyers got filled down here. Okay, the sellers met the demand down here. And then we had more here at a lower level, which is not it's still showing demand, which is good, but they're at a lower level. So it's not like they're being really aggressive chasing after price here. These guys were kind of chasing here. They wanted to get filled, and they did. Now we have more information than that, is we had this huge iceberg in here. So we had a hidden order, hidden demand in here that traded a lot. So we have a context of multiple things here, and then once we start to see these buyers curl back in, come back in, and they start to break the market structure, higher highs, higher lows, we're looking for it to trade up into higher liquidity. The first stop would be up into here at 56. The next stop would be up here around 60. Okay, and that's where we're just coming to right now. Okay, and we talked about it. We mentioned this 60 level up here. Okay, due to this kind of confluence and context of events in here. And we have another iceberg here, really aggressive here. It's not, well, we don't know the entire size. We know that what has transacted. He's here with 174 that have transacted. Really interesting one there. There we go. Okay, so 60 just traded right into it. Okay, now let's read the context up here. Okay, so we just traded into it. Now where's the next area of supply? Well, it's up here at 62. Okay, are we finding enough buyers in here to reach that area yet? Okay, you can see we're going kind of sideways now, and it's a smaller structure, and we're still in an uptrend in this very small time frame. Okay, it's not micro or anything like that, but it's just you know, a few minutes here, 7-8 minutes, something like that. Okay, we seem to find more buyers here, so looking for 62. It's a little bit higher, maybe a little bit higher as well, 63. Let's zoom in. Okay, we look for more. See, now this kind of disrupts everything. See at 61 right here, someone came in and threw in lowered supply here. I mean, high supply at a lower level, and they just transacted. So a buyer took them on. And we're still finding buyers up here. Interesting. So if we're still finding buyers up here after that transaction, we would be looking for 62 to transact. Maybe higher, maybe 63, maybe 65. Okay, we're getting up there though, and we want to zoom out and kind of get our bigger picture perspective here. Because we have some exhaustion here. There was very little buying in here, and some sellers starting to come in. Any questions on this so far? What are my thoughts on the retail sales? Interesting retail sales there. The core versus the actual number. God, let me take a look at it. What was it again? So the core was 0.6, but expectations were 0.4, and the retail sales overall number was 0.9, which was under the forecast of 1.0. So it's a little mixed, but I mean, people are buying. I mean, the core is usually the number you go with, and it takes out the the larger purchases that can kind of skew the data tremendously. So that's why we look at the core number. Yeah, I mean, people are buying, even though there's higher inflation coming in here. So it's actually it's not bad. It's kind of a little bit of a relief that in front of inflation here, people are still buying. So that's kind of my take on it. And there's not much basically what this is my way of looking at it here, is I'll take that information, and I did not dig too deeply into the numbers as you know, but this is a potential strategy in here, is like, take your bias or your understanding of that fundamental event and then look for a specific direction to support your idea. Okay, so if you're really bullish on that, and let's say that, like, wow, okay, the core numbers were a lot, let's say it was better, and well, you'd buy on this pullback here. Okay? And you would be looking for a breakout of here at 61. You'd be looking for it to come up to 65 and maybe 70, and that would be high of the cash session. Yeah, it would be up here at 70. So many different ways to slice and dice it. And I think it's a great way of trading, to be honest. Well, I'm a little, I think it's convoluted a little. The context is with the fundamentals, just the fundamentals alone it's kind of complex. Inflation, we know there's inflation. We know that the Fed is going to raise rates. And yet we have this kind of retail sales data. That's not so bad. Right, so maybe that just kind of mutes the downside move, or look, you have to kind of put together your fundamentals with your technicals. It makes kind of sense to me. We're kind of mildly trending down right now. Yeah, well, and then I think Corwin, when it comes back to it, like what's really important is you're just not only having an outlook in a plan, but really your risk management is going to be just key for that, right? So if you're mildly bullish for it, I don't know, then you, you might want to take some profits on some of these moves up into some of these areas here. You're not looking for a bigger move, right? I mean, you really, that's like very, very complex to kind of answer. So it's a very simple strategy, but it's very complex to answer that. How do you want to gauge your performance? I mean, you might get a huge move here. You get a lot of other people that are going the wrong way in here, and you see a big move up here. So maybe you'd have to look at your own data. You got to do your own studying. Here's why. Every time you're mildly bullish or something like that, and you take some profits, and you might get a big move. So how do you start to gauge some of those things? Well, you're going to have to kind of look at it and come up with a plan that works for you. I know that it sounds like a cop-out, but that's really the truth. I've talked to many professional traders, like all the time, and interesting to hear some of them say things like, once I start to take the same profit on every single trade, it really made a difference, instead of like finagling with it. Do we have lessons for Bookmap? Yeah, Mr. Banks. Let me show you this. So go to bookmap.com and click on, well, there's a few different ways to go there. You can click on the More button and go to the education page here, or you can go to education here, which will just scroll you down this main page here, and then you can go to the link here. This is our new education page. We put this together for everybody. So what you'll learn here, and here's all the course content: getting started, Bookmap basics, and then the educational courses here. Learn from our community, and then here are the live webinars. It describes them here. There's links to it, and then here's our calendar, our live education and events calendar, and you can sign up also here for these webinars. Okay, and then there's more information down here about Meet the Team, and there's recordings down here, or previous new videos in there. Okay, further reading or further learning is the last one here. Yeah, you can go through our knowledge base, our blog, the Bookmap marketplace, and then watch previously recorded webinars. Let's see here. Question on I'm so bad. When I zoom out, most of the large volume bars are red. Is that useful? Would that indicate sellers are more active today? Yeah, it certainly would. It's the delta. I'm looking at delta bars. However, I'm not really seeing that, to be honest. I'm seeing it's really a mishmash in here. The largest ones are red. Yeah, well, this you have to be kind of again, context. I know I keep coming back to context, but it's really true. The context here is this was a stop run into high liquidity down here, and into these lows here at 40.50. So yeah, these are large, okay, but you know, put that context together, and we know that, you know, people getting stopped out, and it's happening again here, but we don't see the stops yet. We're just trading into 40.50 right now. And did that guy get filled with his iceberg, or he probably pulled it? Where is he? We cover all of it. We show everything in here. Oh, here he is up here, right? Yeah, it looks like he pulled it and added it up here and got filled and fully executed. It looks like it. Wow. Okay, there's a nice push through. Okay, now that's going to be a huge stop run. Okay, so now we can look in right inside all of this too and get exactly you know, information about how many are stops, etc. We've got the stop indicator on here, so we know here's 600 here, there's 135, here's 108, all the way back down into these lower levels here. But think about it this way: if you know, we can look at here, and we can even separate out the column data here. And start to understand how many are stops, how many are, you know, new traders here, or not stops, I should say. And we can, you know, do some subtraction from that. Now, a lot of these are stops in here. Okay, and what are stops? These are people typically, okay, we're going to make an assumption on that one, typically exiting the market. So it makes really good sense that these are, it's basically kind of, in essence, empty. There's no position in here. They're out. So we're looking to see if we can get buyers back up above here and get maybe a move back higher, and then anyone that bought in here or sold in here, I'm sorry, is going to get squeezed. So we have stops, and then anyone that sells in here is going to get squeezed. So we're looking to see if we can get buyers back up above 40.50 here. Now we've already come back to 40.50 and tested a little bit above it here. Still looking for buyers in here, and then looking to see if we can come back up and start to meet some high supply up in these areas here. And I don't really see too much here. There's a little bit up in this area here, the blue, and also back to point of control and VWAP up here. It's also in line with the swings up here. All right, so let's take a look at the distribution down here in this new area. Okay, so you can see what happened. It tested up here a few times, and that was it. No buyers. I mean, they actually tested above it here. They got up here above it, but that was it. Now this is where we start to get into our pivots that we've talked about many times over. It's this here. And if we get our buyers back up above it, there's a smaller pivot in here as well. Okay, very short time frame here at 49, and you can see we're bouncing off of that right now. Okay, this is where the buyers came in, bounced off of it, and sellers came through, back down to the lows. Now we have our buyers back up above it. Okay, now let's see if we get more buying, and we'd be looking for the move back to 50 and above here. Let's see if we can get buyers back up here at 50. We're right at 50. I want to see them up here though, actually a little bit higher, 51. And then let's take a look at this range in here and what's happening within this range, about distribution, etc. Well, here's a lot of distribution already, and that's the stops. In fact, we could probably discount that, like I said. And we know there's some sellers in there too. but this is a lot of selling in here. Okay, so what about the potential for a mean reversion trade back to 60, back to 58? Well, we'd be looking for in this distribution down here, or I'm sorry, this accumulation down here, we're looking for buyers to accumulate. We can look at many different factors. We can look at the buying dots in here. We can look at the structure and where they're transacting, and if we're going to get follow through or not. We can look at our imbalance indicators. We can also look at cumulative volume delta in these areas here. And you can see that, yeah, so they have been accumulated in here. And now we want to be careful here, though, because if they're buyers accumulating in here, well, they're going to be sellers down here, and they'll be the squeeze, the long squeeze here into 45 and below. And see these buyers are kind of rattling or shaking in their boots here right now. And here comes the price discovery. Okay, into 45, there it is. And let's see them try to squeeze these guys that we're getting long in here. And then a push into 43, maybe 42, maybe 40. Nice liquidity down there at 40. I have a few icebergs in here getting filled. Too many icebergs in here. Let me use our handy automated or automatic filter. For both. Okay. Yeah, look at the absorption here of the icebergs. No question about it. Look, they're still in here absorbing as much as they can. 700 contracts. Okay, now look, if they're going to absorb all that selling pressure, watch for buyers take it back to the middle. And let's reconfigure this. Or the most traded level in here, which is really pretty wonky. I would say probably maybe 47.5 or so, somewhere around here. Look, I mean, these are huge positions. There's 1,400 just transacted, and he canceled it too. There was still more in there. Okay, beautiful stop run. All right. Well, so you can see now, so we were reading this distribution in, or I'm sorry, this accumulation in here. And then we read the order flow and then went through the scenario. And the scenario was, wow, we're getting some buyers in here. You know, we know that there's some sellers in here. We're looking to see if maybe they can get squeezed to the upside. And then looking at the CVD in here. Price was trying to make a higher high, or it came back up into these highs, could not get back up into 51 though. And then here, they're shaking in their boots. Like anyone that bought in here is on their back heels here. They're going to feel the pain. And we went through that and we talked about it, and then the potential for the move and the stop run to the downside back into 43, 42, maybe 40. Okay, a little more convoluted than that. 1,700 icebergs actually. This guy finally got completely filled in there. I'm sorry. Something was okay. It's a little more. Yeah, no, he canceled for 1,400. But there were some other ones here executed for 300 here, and just added those together. So the last one was executed for 300. Anyway, so we traded down to 41. We haven't quite gotten to 40 yet, but that was the scenario based on this accumulation in here, which, you know, they basically got they got squeezed, they got hurt. As we go lower here. All right, guys, we haven't looked at the bigger picture yet, and I want to. We're getting down to into kind of, I think, some sort of gap fill areas in here. Yeah. Well, you know, you can see this is where we close. I mean, the true gap fill is way down here. This is the 15-minute chart here on the left, or on the right, the hour in the center, and then the daily here on the left-hand side. Now, you can see even on the daily. I mean, look, it's the same old things that we talk about. We look at some of these wicks up in here and look for sellers. We get back above, then we're looking for the next level of sellers, and they're up in here. And we're just a little bit shy of that area. But you know, a great move, and it gapped up into that area and it sold off. Now look where it sold off to, the top of this range so far. So around this 40 level. So here, yeah, I would look for some profit taking in here, and I would look for maybe a bounce around this 40 level, and not looking for it to go straight down and to fill the gap down here at the lower level. Okay, just looking for it to fill this area here, and then get a little bit of a bounce. And let's zoom into maybe a 5-minute chart for a moment here. All right, so yeah, we're down on that level. Maybe we can get a pull back right back to 45, or maybe even a little bit higher, maybe back to 50. Okay, so we're right into 40. Nice move into 40 and through it down to 38. Okay, so now this is the markdown phase. And let's see if we can get it. Looking for our buyers start to come in, and we'd be looking for a couple different things in the structure. First, and nice stops in here as well. So we're going to draw our line in here, not just because of the stops, but also because of the swing or the structure here. And we've got all these icebergs, another iceberg in here getting on quite a bit. So one already filled, another one is getting filled right at this price level. A lot of iceberg action. Okay, trading into high liquidity there. Wow, still going lower. Another nice stop run here. Okay, I'm looking for buyers. I'm looking for buyers to come back up. Now I'm going to move this line here actually to, well, it's already there. I wanted to move it to here, 38. I'll just try to draw a new one quickly. And you can see now, okay, now we're breaking the trend and the structure here at 38. And maybe we get a bounce back off of it, maybe a little bit lower, maybe 36.5, and bounce here. And looking for buyers to support it here. And now this is only one scenario, but we were looking for this over here. Went one more lower here. Now we're looking for it again, and let's see if we get it. Now we have already broken the trend line and this smaller line here around 38. Okay, so we're looking for accumulation down here. Okay, there's demand here at 35. Okay, 150 contracts there, not a whole lot, but another iceberg, another hidden demand. Actually 3 icebergs at that price level. Sweeps are well, first off, you'd be looking for in stocks, dark pool transactions, not in the futures. Those are over-the-counter trades or transactions. They can happen at any price level. All right, buyers, let's see it here. Let's see if you got it. And a quick move, maybe back up to the top here, 38 or 39, something like that. And not seeing a whole lot right now, really. I mean, it's not really telling us much. Maybe another rotation lower here. Yeah, that's what it's doing. But I am looking. I'm very curious. This is where I want to see buyers up here. And yeah, we continue to sell off here. Again, I'm still looking for this though. We're down at these levels here. And they just keep exploring lower here, keep stopping people out. But again, I'm just looking for this scenario here. And this is another reason too. Like, don't, just always, we've talked about it many times over. Stick with the trend until you see that something different. Now we're not in any position here, so we're just looking and waiting for it. And we saw this here, and that was just getting interesting here, and it's starting to break it here as well. And look at the supply though. I mean, or the hitting into high liquidity here at 33.5 and going lower still. Now, Marcel, the guys, this is our event here, okay, at around 33.5 or so. Yeah, so if this is where we want to see the buyers above it here, this is our pivot right now, right here. It's lining up beautifully here. Okay, looking for our buyers above it here, and looking. I want to see them just pull away now. Buyers to just come in and then go for maybe up here at 40. Now you can see someone lined up here in front here, 34.5 and 35.5, something like that. I'm just looking for buyers to tear right through that. We're above this line here. We've seen, now this is where we're going to put a lot of pieces together as well. We've seen high liquidity being filled on the bid on the way down here multiple times over. We've seen huge icebergs getting filled multiple times over. All right, this is boding pretty well for a nice move back up into 50 up here, maybe even back to 60. So we're looking for those buyers. Here they come, and we wanted to see them trade through this. They have. We're still looking for them to come up to 40 now. Okay, we've come up to this first swing here. Now I'm really looking for the buyers though to pick it up here. And I don't have evidence of that yet. We see them coming in, but look at the selling coming in now, right back down. And now we need to see these buyers come in again. And they could upend these sellers in here. These are not stops, especially above 35.5 here. There we go. All right, buyers, you got these guys on the hook here. You can squeeze them. Just need to buy some more, show more demand down here. We get a move up into 40. So this is now turning into the accumulation phase here. All right, here we go. All right, buyers, let's see it. This is nice. Here we had a little bit of buying here. We have very little selling here. We got buying here. This is where we look for the breakout up into 40. And they did make an equal high here. Okay, now trade considerations around these kinds of events. I mean, they're kind of risky, right? It's kind of counter trend right now. We have a lot of confluences in here, and it's up to you how you want to take a shot at it. You know, we're just looking at a few, or we're looking at a lot of confluences in here, and we'd be looking for entering basically right around in here, around this 35.5 area here. Okay, because we're looking for these buyers to just take it higher. Okay, your stop would go down below the swing here. And if you see sellers coming after it, I mean, you can even just get out early. I mean, because the concept here is we're looking for this to work right now. So here we go. Let's see. We're back up here. Now it's not looking too good right now, to be honest. They're making lower highs in here, and that's not boding well for the buyers in here. All right. So yeah, if I was looking for that, I would have been stopped out on that one. I would be still looking for it again, potentially here, right back up here, and I would do it again. Okay, but I don't know if it's going to come all the way back down here or continue. Maybe there's more, you know, aggressive sellers in here willing to go after the demand down here. But I'm looking for buyers up here to go for the supply up here at 40. And I have icebergs. Now this is counter trend, right? But I have icebergs. I have lots of limit buy orders getting filled down here. So I'm looking for demand to start to come in, and I'm looking for these aggressive buyers to lift it. Okay, and give it another shot there. 35. Now looking for it to follow through. One of the nice things about, you know, one of the things that how I like to kind of manage these, and like I said, it's up to you. But when they look really good, we're looking for it to work now. Stops can be quite tight, because if it doesn't work now, then it just wasn't ready. Look for the next one, instead of having to play all the different rotations back and forth in here. Right, that's the edge in order flow. Right, so here it looked better. There's more buying up here. It's starting to now break the highs. Okay, would have been stopped out down here. Would have gotten back in here, somewhere in this area here, and yeah, it went against me a little bit, but stopped probably down. Yeah, probably down here around the 32, maybe a little bit below it. So that's like 3 points. And then looking for 40. And then maybe taking some off at 40. I don't know about that yet. Make my decision if it gets up here to 40. Okay, likely would have been just stopped out at break even right there, to be honest. I gave it a shot, and it didn't work. It should have worked. Right? You can always get into the next one. Yeah, more buying back up here again. Give it another shot. This should work. It's rotated a few times. This is one of the things, this is why I actually kind of prefer the NASDAQ compared to the S&P, is the rotations. Usually NASDAQ will follow through immediately, and it's also been great. I guess I've kind of learned it the easy way, in fact, via these webinars, and looking for the follow through immediately for demoing and how this looking for that follow through immediately due to the order flow. And the NASDAQ did it a lot more often than the S&P. The S&P would rotate like this several times. So you're looking for that follow through, and it's just like, yeah, it's going to take another rotation. Okay, we're still looking for it, and here we go. All right, so I took a couple shots at it. One stop loss for a few points, one break even, and one still in it, basically. Now, these are just considerations. Obviously, these are not trade recommendations. We're just going through how you may consider this. You guys can't hear me? Uh-oh. How about now? We can, it's just choppy. Okay. Sounds like a robot, really? Oh, that's not good. I've had a lot of problems with these headphones. Can you hear me well? Is it proper? Clear now connection. Well, we can now. Okay. All right, guys. So there it is. From 35 on up to 40, I would have taken some off, and yeah, I'll be honest. I would have taken some off, and I would hold the rest here. I'm looking now for something else to happen here. Now, we went through this whole kind of example in here, and it's for educational purposes only, right? It's you've got to do this kind of due diligence and back testing yourself. You really do. It's just how it works, and to start to understand how are you going to manage this. If you had, like, for example, a deeper pocket, or you're looking for a bigger move, you'd have a deeper stop loss. You wouldn't have been stopped out. Okay, you wouldn't have been stopped out at break even. You'd still be in it from your original position. Okay, and now you wouldn't have taken profit either, so you'd still be in it, and you'd be looking for the bigger move back up to VWAP, or maybe point of control. At least 50 here. I'm at least looking for 50 here, and we have good reasons for that. We have lots of good reasons for this. It's just really taken its time here. Several reasons here, like we'll cover them again. First off, let's take a look at the higher time frame. So we're looking kind of at a bounce off of this area in here. Okay, we can even see it on the daily, the bounce kind of off of these wicks up in here. I don't want to see it bounce back up. Maybe we're not looking for much in here. Maybe just the bounce comes back up to about, yeah, I like it. I think around 47 to 50, somewhere in there on this 5-minute chart. Looks pretty good to me. Okay, back up into this area here and retest kind of this structural area up here. And that's it. I'm just looking for that right now. So maybe your higher time frame, maybe you wouldn't look at this here and get involved. Thinking that this is kind of peanuts. I'm not really, I don't really care for the move back to 50 here, even though it's basically 10 points now, or 15 points altogether. Yeah, I don't think Scott would, for example. I mean, just based off of risk reward, he would say like, you know, I'm going to pass on that one. Okay, so now what we're looking for is to kind of cue in other traders here, kind of higher time frame traders, mean reversion traders, to say like, hey, look, you know, it's starting to show positive order flow in this direction. We're looking to trade it right back into kind of an average area. And again, we have all sorts of buyers in here. We have all sorts of icebergs in here. Okay, with their limit buy orders and their icebergs getting filled all the way down here. People getting, retail traders getting stopped out all the way down here. So now we're looking for a nice move back. Okay, I really like 50, and not just because it's the figure, it's also structurally here. Here's this previous area, and we're looking for a pullback to these areas here, or this area here. Okay, it can even come up higher. Heck, it can go. Price can do whatever it wants. We know that. Shorts getting squeezed bit by bit. Yeah, we're also looking for a squeeze as well. MC local. But you know, I think there's certain times of day, and it's right around now. You'll see these kind of tip off to mean reversion traders. I think it's far enough away from the mean, trade it back to it, and you know, you see it all the time. And this is a setup. This is what these players look for. Yeah, we do have the European close coming up, but we have lots of reasons for this to unfold. Okay, back to 50. Lots of reasons, as we discussed. All right. So anyway, let me go to YouTube here and see what's going on. That's not it. That's it. Oh yeah, let me put this into the chat for you guys too. This education page, I just think, you know, this will be really helpful for you. All these resources are here together for you. Okay, here we go. There's that education page there. Funny, Discord disconnected, but YouTube was fine. All right, so it's kind of a battle going on there. All right, and let me see if I missed much in here. You guys can hear me, that's good. Well, anyway, I think there was some kind of questions in here, or head and shoulders, and some patterns in here. It's not really much of a head and shoulders. It's more like, you know, really deep moves down, pull away, and then just one shoulder here, and then we're looking for that continuation. Okay, and you know, these are, I don't know, maybe you guys are, you know, complete experts at some of these areas in here. You know, we went through the trade scenario and what realistically would have happened for me. Maybe you would have been, you know, had a little more risk involved and not gotten stopped out the first one. That's fine. Look, this is the way I would have looked at it, and just trying to be honest, and still holding, still looking. Still looking for our main target at the half figure up here. Okay, Charles, you're just saying, don't be fooled. Wait. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, we had our reasons, and yeah, I mean, Charles, that's great. I mean, you got your reasons. So But I like this higher time frame idea of kind of bouncing off of. I liked it here, to be honest. It went through it quite a bit deeper, went down to here instead, kind of off of this area here, and then now it's coming back in. And there now we're starting to get some squeeze going on in here as well, guys. So look, this is just and I'd be starting to get kind of, I'm still looking for 50, but I'll be looking at the order flow in here, and if I see a ton of selling coming in, I'll exit. But yeah, I'm looking for 50. I see some selling in here, but look at that selling. This is like a low volume pullback. So I'm still looking for buyers up here. And I'm looking for the continuation. Now, if I start to see sellers starting to come in, a lot of selling, I see exhaustion in here. They're likely going to come back down to 45. Do I want to exit? I don't know. All right, yeah, here we go. I'm still in it. That's easy to say, but yeah, and I don't like that. I'm looking for these buyers up here. They're starting to see a bit. There they go. All right, so now I'm looking for them, and I'm looking for the target. It still was a low volume pullback in here. I just don't like seeing kind of exhaustion in here and then selling down here. You don't think I have a clear idea, Charles? Look, I'm not here to argue with you. If you want to go through your way of trading in here, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, this is I just cover it the way I thought. And what I would do. Yeah, see, I don't like this here. This is exactly what I don't like. It's kind of shaking me out here of my position. And then how many times have I seen it? This is why I like to front run my targets, but I would have held for 50. I really would have. And I'd be kind of in a pickle right now of like, yeah, is it going to bounce off of this little range in here? Are we going to find our buyers, try to upend these sellers here? I mean, maybe exit here, try to at least, and then or give it one more shot, see if we can get the buyers back up above these sellers here, and then these sellers would be the squeeze. And that's a likely scenario. I mean, heck, if I got stopped out and I did see that, I could jump in again and then look for the move back up to 49 and 50. Right? A lot of times we see this, it shakes everybody out, it gets me nervous, and then we get the follow through anyway. Anyway, like the point of these webinars is to go through maybe a consideration for your trade management. Just applying some of the things that we're talking about in here, or to put it into some consideration or some context of like how you may look at it, right? So we're talking about reading the order flow, though. That's what this is about in here. We're reading the order flow. And we're putting pieces together, and then we went over, because I get questions about it all the time. How would you manage it? How would you reading the order flow? How would you position yourself? Well, that opens up a can of worms with, well, what's my time frame? What's my risk? How much am I trading? Am I scaling in? Am I scaling out? Am I looking for a bigger move? The way I covered it, I would have been looking for a smaller move. I would have scaled out at 40. I'd held the rest. Yeah, I probably would have. I'll be honest. I would have dumped it here at about 46. It would have shaken me out somewhere around in here. I was thinking it might do that here. It gave one more shot. I thought here we'd get the move, but we didn't. And then we see some heavy selling coming in. See, once I start to see the heavy selling, it's like, yeah, I don't like that. Still might go. In fact, it's still in an uptrend. So, this is another thing. Like, that's my own kind of doing in here. Well, did it break the trend or the structure? No, not yet. It's making lower highs in here now. It made a higher low here. Lots of comments in here, guys. I love it. Good stuff. Yeah, Corleman, we can take a look at Nasdaq as well. Candlesticks, Mr. Banks, Mrs. Banks, sorry, is something that is we don't, I mean, we can overlay it here and we can go through candlestick patterns in here. Where's everyone commenting? In YouTube there. There's quite a, it's pretty active in here. No, look, it's not about ego, it's not about boasting, it's not about bragging, it's about trying to beat, and this I'm certain of this. Like I have in the past, and still and will do in the future, have a bias and stick to it and be stubborn, and it goes against me even in front of order flow. Now see here, I'm looking for the breakout here, order flow wise. We've been waiting in here, and now we're starting to see the buyers up here, and it was probably this demand in here at a higher level, and the reaction was buyers. Now we're looking for the push into 48 and 50 here. Okay, it looks pretty good. Now it should work now. If it doesn't, I take the stop. Right? So anyway, what I'm trying to get at here is the more objective I find, the more objective I am about this and reading the order flow and just putting these pieces together, the better it works. I mean, by far. It's just like, well, wait a minute, the chart is telling me this. It's just reading the order flow and starting to put this together. Okay, and we started to cover, we went through kind of a Wyckofian type of distribution and markup and markdown and accumulation, etc. Putting that kind of structure, a little bit of structure in here, because we always talk about structure and we talk about the importance of the market structure, and then it's the order flow within the structure. This mark down here, and then we're looking for accumulation in here. That's a pretty funny looking accumulation down here, right? This isn't very typical, but still we saw it and we were looking for it. We saw something here in the order flow that told us that wow, my God, there's all this liquidity getting filled on the bid all the way down. Okay, that's fact. There's huge icebergs, and we had a real edge there by seeing the icebergs. Okay, and then typically, to be honest, typically when we see massive iceberg transactions like this is just the beginning. And this is when we see, like, you know, a move back up to 60, a move back up to highs of the day, 70, maybe 95 up here. Because these guys are just getting into the green right now, right? These icebergs. I mean, you know, maybe they're taking profit down here, but what we know is the majority of them are getting filled from this area 50 on down. So they averaging their cost in here, and then they're probably just getting into the green right now, or maybe they've been in the green, you know, I don't know, 5 or so points ago. You know, this is where we can see beautiful moves. So, you know, that's another thing. Like, did I would my trading plan, would I have looked for it? No, you know, not this time. I would have looked at it and said, like, no, you know, I'm good with this move up to this area, and then I'm out. Okay, but that's just me. It's not you. You could still be in this. You could be looking for that move to 60. Right. So lots of different things to consider in here, and that's the goal. Read the order flow and then put this together into your plan. And that's why we have the live forward-looking analysis. Again, all of it based on our educational course that you can find here. So go through the course. And understanding market mechanics here, the intro here, basic market mechanics, don't be fooled by the word basic and intro in here. Part 2, auction market theory, volume profile, and microstructure. These two together, really nice. They put this, they lay the foundation here for basically any way of trading. All right, so any Wyckoff followers in here, you'd be looking at, well, is this up here the continuation of accumulation? I don't know. Or, you know, your Elliott wave, guys, you're probably looking at a complete Elliott wave up here. Here's your distribution up here, looking for sellers to take it back down, maybe back down to 40 or so, or maybe even here. And you could just get a double bottom here and then continuation of trend. Right, so lots of, and we see that all the time. Another way of looking at this is your big power move here, and you do see the large bars here. I'm so bad was referring to these earlier. This is your low volume pullback on a higher time frame. It's done it basically. This is as far as it went. So if that's your time frame, then you're looking for continuation to the downside, right? So this is the huge distribution. Here's your markdown. Here's your pullback. Looking for it to continue. Yeah, it lay that Mrs. Banks, that lays the foundation. And then you can take that into, you know, whatever it might be, whatever trading plan you're looking to trade. And that's where the magic really takes place. So because, you know, understanding like these contexts here, look at this buying coming in here. You know, so looking back to 52 here, I mean, we're just about at 50. So I'm looking for them to push it higher here. That's a lot of buying, trying to move it away, trying to get these stops here triggered. I don't see many stops yet, so I want to see the stops triggered. So I'm looking for the move up into 52.5 up here, VWAP, maybe to 60 here. Okay. We just talked about this kind of pattern here, this kind of double bottom. It didn't quite do it. Usually you get pretty equal double bottom in here, Instead, we got one move, one more move, and then super strong buying coming in here. Okay, so looking for now continuation. Back to VWAP, and then let's see if they can move it to 60 here. Okay, so anyway, look, these are different scenarios in here. We're going to look at the order flow to give insight to what is more likely to unfold. Charles, I've been trading for about 15 years. And like many of us, we've been kind of through just about everything. Yeah, this is kind of what happened with me. You know, I was getting into a lot of volume studies, volume profile. That was, you know, becoming of a lot of interest for me. I didn't really totally embrace the volume profile trading and dig down, you know, really deep into it. I liked it a lot, but you know, and then before that it was just everything, you know, from candlesticks and patterns to indicators to these, you know, 3 moves up distribution, 3 moves down accumulation, you know, Elliott wave, whatever. I mean, look, we've all done this. What made really good sense to me was, and I'm being honest here, when I started to see in here and it was pointed out to me, another trader helped me tremendously, and he was pointing out to me, look, start to understand these small structural areas here, and this is how the market moves, and you can now, you know, piece this together with your higher time frame moves. So what's going on in this structure here, the sideways consolidation? You know, it's bouncing around in here in this area. Okay, well, we can look at it in here, and we can start to look at, well, how many sellers. Let's look at cumulative volume delta here, and we'll turn off stops and icebergs for a minute. There's more sellers in here, not by a whole lot, but you know, there's more sellers in here, and they're trading and auctioning at lower lows in here. So I would be looking for them to trade it back down in here. Maybe we can get a breakout, price discovery or breakdown, price discovery to 47 and 46. Right? But we see the exhaustion here, we see the selling here. Okay, everything's lined up. Now we need to go through the other scenario. The other scenario is this could be trap volume down here. Buyers come in and lift it away quickly, trade up here, trade one tick higher, and they're going to come back up and trade up here and maybe even break out up into 50, okay, into a new range. And we want to read the order flow in here. We know that there's the demand here at 47, but that's it so far. Okay, I don't really see much else in the order book happening. Okay, I mean, they pulled here a little bit down in this area here, but they've been adding and pulling in there. Right, so we're looking to see if maybe there's a skew in supply and demand. Okay, a little more demand here. Okay, the market traded higher. Okay, some exhaustion there, and then now some buyers and sellers. Okay, we're back up at the top of the range now. All right, so now looking to see if we get our buyers here, and there would be a stop loss after these guys. No, not much. I'm just not seeing much here. Basically, this is range-bound activity. Okay, a little bit more demand coming in here. See at the higher level. Okay, it's not much. Let's see. More, it's auctioning up here. More buyers up here. Not too much sellers. Buyers, more buyers pulling up here. Not much demand, okay, but yeah, I'd be looking for 50. And just kind of chops around. It comes up to 49.5. This is all pretty random stuff in here. be honest. But anyway, starting to understand what makes price move, and then in the order book in here. And I'm sorry, I didn't pick a good example in here, but maybe we'll find something and then cover it. But I didn't really cheat. I didn't know exactly where it was going. But that's I want to go through the point here and demo it. But once I started to understand these really what makes the market move, and traps, and the dynamics in here, the market mechanics, what makes it move to newer price levels or keeps it in ranges, etc. Then the light turned on, and then I was able to look at this here on a higher time frame and understand it as this in some of these ranges up in here. And that was really big for me. Then I was also able to take that concept of some of the volume studies and volume profile, and it's the same thing. And in fact, I liked it even much better, because your volume profile in here, well, this is looking pretty distributed here so far. Okay. So where do you see the skew? Well, now there's a skew here a little bit. And what I like about the skew in here is that this is recent activity. It's not previous activity so much. It's recent activity. That's a key here, because this profile here is aggregation of all of this data here. I want to know what's happening here, and look at this pull away, and now I'm looking for the move higher. Okay, up into 50. There we go. And pulls right back down. Anyway, starting to understand these structural areas in here, what makes price move, can be extrapolated to the higher time frames, and start to understand market structure in a very, very different way. And then the funny thing is looking back into Elliott wave, looking back into candlesticks, looking back into patterns, it all made sense. It was the order flow within those areas that made the difference. It made the pattern fail or not, and that gave such a higher level of confidence and higher trade results. I mean, just being able to have much higher probability by understanding what's going on in the order flow. Right. So that was a very long-winded way of getting to it, but anyway, that's kind of the background. Yeah, FT71, he's been doing volume profile for quite a while. And just an expert of it. He really dug in deep early. Yeah, guys, okay, so now this here was the kind of the key in here, right? This, because in here we didn't really quite know. It shook me out. Basically, but we went through the different scenarios here of this being could potentially be quite a nicer move here due to all of this getting filled on the bid. But then this is where you can lean on some of the icebergs in here, and this is the kind of transparency that I think can offer a really nice edge when you start to put that within your plan here. It's a confluence, though. It's not a signal. It's a confluence that, wow, I saw tons of icebergs in here, lots of size getting filled on the bid on the way down as it goes against them. I'm looking for the buyers to start to come in at some point, and I'm just looking for the mean reversion back to 50. Okay, but then once these guys get back to 50, look, they're in the green. They're just getting to they're probably into break even somewhere around 45, or just in the green there. They're definitely in the green now, and they're just going to let it float right back up into 60, and maybe even higher. Right? These are the ones that they just put on huge size in here. So you see all this selling. Everyone thinks it's, oh my God, it's breaking down, etc. And then who's on the other side? And it went against them a lot too. But this is how larger players can play. They have different pockets than we do, and they can let it go against them, average in, and then just kind of let it float right back on up. Okay, and then we get the insight from, well, reading some of the order flow in here, and then also from this big move in here. The bigger move was this one. Okay, and we started to see that come in, and it's just like, yeah, okay, I'm looking for 52, and then went through the scenario of like this could go a lot higher as well. Okay, so nice stuff in here. Boy, I really wanted to cover distribution and accumulation. I didn't get to too much of it, and instead we saw this basically all of this buying getting filled with their limit buy orders, and we saw the icebergs, hidden orders, being pretty aggressive in here, and then we went through this scenario back to here, and then the potential scenario for up to 60 now as well. Yeah, Neon Knight, I agree. I think it's unfinished auction in play to the upside, so this still has room to go. Jana, I cannot tell if they're buying or selling icebergs. I just know they transacted, and that's it. And it doesn't matter so much to me. I know that those are the transactions, and I'm looking for the market activity after the event. That's the most important part. All right. So anyway, guys, I think we've covered a lot of different things in here. Some good stuff. Any more questions here? How do you get the iceberg chart on your charts? Okay, let me show you that. If you're new to Bookmap in here, and then Discord, guys. Sorry, guys. Let me get back to the Discord in here. Thanks, Doug. Doug's giving some help in there. Gary D, keep talking us through. Okay, well, let's let me show you. I don't know if you guys are disconnected or not. It's jump over to YouTube. I mean, really, that's the way to go. So they don't seem to have any problems. Let me show you if you're interested in the stops and icebergs. Where do you go? Again, you can go through the educational page here and find it. You know, we do go through it in here. Down here, further learning, you know, check out, browse the marketplace here. That's one way to get to it here under number 6. But here, click on the more button and go to the Bookmap marketplace here, and go to MBO bundle here. Okay, or you know, we can click on marketplace. It'll take you to the marketplace and the home page here. In general, you scroll down a little bit, you can see MBO bundle is right here. So now this is very specific. It works with global or global plus, so that doesn't matter. It will not work with digital plus or digital though. Only global and global plus, and it's sold separately here as an indicator bundle. You will need to have Rhythmic data though, but you can get it right here from Rhythmic on the Bookmap marketplace. And this is a structure for our third-party vendors. We're one of the third-party vendors. We created this one here. You know, here's Hero though from Spot Gamma. You know, you can see Keltner channels here from Zoli. Scott Pulsini has an educational course. All sorts of stuff in here. This is where you can find the stops and icebergs. Click on it. You can read about it here, and you can download it, install it, etc. After you go through the purchase or subscription. All right. Now I want to show you on the marketplace or the knowledge base though, where you can find it as well for new downloads, etc. So just go back to bookmap.com, click on the more button here, and then we're going to go to our knowledge base. This is a key area to go for Bookmap. So everything is usually is centralized around the knowledge base. Now you're in the user guide section of the knowledge base, and then go to the add-on section here. Click on that, and then you can see stops and icebergs here, and right here on chart and subchart. Click on the scrolling link here down to installation, and you can download it here. No, I guess you have to download it from it used to be available in here, or no, you can use the direct link here. Yeah, you can download it here, and then on chart here, same thing. You're not, if you don't subscribe to it, obviously you're not going to be able to you don't have the license key for it. You can download it, but you don't have the license key. Guys, this turned into a beautiful move, as you can see. Now let's just recap here on this, because this move to the downside, okay, we had lots of things. Just to recap, we had lots of things to look at here for this potential move here to the upside. Okay, first was our higher time frame structure bouncing off of this area in here on the hourly. I thought on the 15-minute or 5-minute it would bounce off of it here around 40. It went lower. It went down to this little kind of structural area, and these wicks down here around 30. Is it 30? Yeah, 30. And then it bounced. Okay, so we had that going for us. We're looking, waiting, and watching on the way down, and then we saw it in here, and then we even kind of demoed going through a potential way to look at it and manage it, and entry and exit, and that's really up to you though. Those are just it's not financial advice. It's not a trade recommendation. It's just a consideration, how you might look at positioning yourself with order flow, and that's it. Now, the one takeaway though from this, okay, because I've seen this a lot of times. Now, I would have gotten out as I demoed, but bigger picture, when you see this kind of activity, this is where the back testing comes in and build out that trading plan. You could be done for the month on a trade like this, because we had lots of things going for us on the way down here. We had the move down. We had the higher time frame structure. We had the move down into high liquidity all the way down here. We had retail traders getting stopped out all the way down here. We had massive iceberg orders, hidden orders accumulating on the way down here as well. And we know where they started. They started somewhere around in here, and so we covered this scenario for this potential move up to highs of the day or up to 60. So this is playing out pretty nicely, and I don't know if it's done yet or not. Okay, 70 looks pretty good too, and that would be a lot of stops up here of people, everyone short in here. And these, do we see these guys distributing yet? I don't see them taking profit up here. So still looking for this to float higher until we start to see some sort of back and forth in here. Okay, so we'll leave you with that scenario here, and that's the webinar. Now I'm going to stop, but Tom B is going to start, and he'll continue in the afternoon. You can jump right over there and continue with the he gets into the volume profile in detail. All right, guys, thank you everybody for coming. We'll call it a wrap here, and then we will catch up to you tomorrow with Jay Trader. He'll be in for usually a little bit after 10, so look for him. But we'll cover the S&P and maybe kind of debrief what we saw today and what was the outcome of today's action here. Okay, thanks everybody, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Oh yeah, one thing, guys on YouTube, if you like this video, please give us a like, give us a thumbs up. Really appreciate that. And subscribe to our channel. It's we're doing this all the time. It's part of our community here, and we want to build this community. So the more kind of positive feedback here we get, the more we'll be able to build out the community, have more traders in here, all sorts of stuff, guys. So really looking forward to it. It's pretty exciting time for us here at Bookmap.